Hi, welcome back. On this video, we're going to be concentrating in making our application a little bit more secure by encrypting the passwords that users type in this field. Now, if you think about it, we're already making this secure here. We're making this field secure against database statements, SQL statements. So, if for some reason the user comes in here and says, you know what, I don't want to insert anything to his database. I want to find out the username and password of the users. I want to find out their information. They're going to come here, put a software to scan this page and input thousands and thousands of usernames and password every second. All right. They will find out your password, even if it's something that has a couple characters. And if it's not a password like this, the hacker will find out your password. So now we know that users are not going to type these passwords this long, right? With all the different characters. It's almost impossible to do that unless you have a password management software. So we are going to make the password this long, and we're going to make the password with numbers and symbols for the user. Now, we are not going to change their password. Don't get me wrong. They will still have a password like this. But when it goes into our system, it's going to be really long password. It's going to be a really long password. It's going to be longer than this with numbers and symbols. All right? It's not going to change theirs. It's just going to reference that file. Now, that record. Now, if you see here, we have a problem. Our passwords, when we encrypt, it's going to be longer than this, as a matter of fact. Right now, we cannot go over certain characters. Yeah, I believe it's 32 characters. We need to change this field to go to over 22 characters or 32 characters. So let's go ahead and go and click on structure. We are in the users table right here in the logging app database, users table, structure. Then we're going to change this by clicking here, change. We're going to change this to 200. Why 200? That's just a number that I wanted to use. You can use 100 if you want, but 200 I think is a good number. just click save, and now we're good to go. So what do we want to do? So the first thing that you should know is that we will be using a function called crypt. This is the page right here, the manual, so you can come and read it. Now, using crypt, the crypt function, just along with just the password, will create a combination of characters. So it will encrypt it, but then it will create something really weak. All right, and we don't want to do that. So we want to create something actually stronger. So we need to use another parameter called the salt. Now, this would be any type of string that equals to a certain amount of characters, and we will see that when we are building it. But know that the major function that we will be using is crypt, and you can pass it a different parameters just to make it stronger. Now they have different terms here for this type of format. We're going to be using this here called blowfish, and this is the format, right? This is the hash format that we will be using, and they change, all right? And you will see that if you go down here a little bit, you will see that the format, the standard DES, all right, has our RL hash format here. If you use that, then you will create a different result than if you use this format and this format here, which is $1 and $. We will be using this one here, $2 $07 $. All right. So just know that, and this will be the result. As you can see here, the standard DES will produce a password this short here with different with numbers and dots and letters, and this one will produce this. And the MD5 is the one that is very commonly used. Now that we are in a different PHP version. As a matter of fact, let me show you how to look into that right now in this video here. Localhost, click on that, go to PHP info, and you can see that we are in 5.6.3 version of PHP. That's what we're using, the newer version. By the time you're watching this, you're probably using another version, but we are using a newer API than the one from before. And MD5 was very commonly used, still commonly used in a lot of WordPress sites. Now we will be using Blowfish, which is a lot longer than that, as you can tell. All right, the government, I believe the government is using this one right now. And this, look at this one. This is crazy. This will extend the screen, the SHA-512. Right. So let's go ahead and start using this right away. So let's go to our function, my SQL under remember that we are under MySQL directory and then functions. All right. So this first thing that we will create is the hash format. Let's do that. Let's create this hash and let's call it format. All right. And the hash format that we will be using is the, show you right here, the 2Y. Actually, this is the most secure right now. Right here, and 5.3.7 and later should use the 2Y. So let's use that instead of the 2A. All right. And I just know this because I read some of this documentation, and we got to use it with some numbers after it, and just to tell it how many times it will run. All right. So let's go ahead and use that, and then just put, we were supposed to put 7, but I know that we need to put 10 because, or more, since this will tell this hash format how many times, tell the crypt function how many times it will run the hash. So this will change. This will be like a lottery type of system where you will put a number and then all the balls will go around certain times, right, for a certain amount of minutes, and then you will get a different result every time you get a ball. Well, this will be very similar to that. This will run every time it runs, it will create a different result for the hash, and right now it's gonna run 10 times. All right, and let's go ahead and create the salt, and this could be any amount, any amount of strings you want, right? So you can create, actually, as a matter of fact, there has to be at least 22 characters. All right, so the salt is a string. It could be anything you want, but it has to be at least 22 characters. And I'm gonna use something that I know that will work. So I use some crazy strings. This is something I made up. 22. I think this is 22 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. All right. Now we need to put both of this together to pass it into the crypt function. And I'm just gonna say hash and salt. It's actually hash format and salt, but I'm just gonna put a little F there. I don't want to make this too big. I'm just gonna put hash, and I'm gonna concatenate both of them together. All right, this is just gonna make it really extra secure when we pass it into the crypt function. And now we will pass it in, and we will say something like encrypt, and you can put whatever you want. I'm just making this up, this variable here, because I'm gonna use it with the function crypt. All right, and then we pass it in the password. This is the password that the user is gonna be typing, so we pass it in, pass this in first. This is the first parameter this function is gonna take, and then we pass in the hash and salt right here. All right, perfect. I think we're done with this. All right, so this will do that. Now this, okay, so let's just go ahead and rename this to password, because we will be using it right here. So if we don't have this username, is when it comes down, it's not gonna find this password there. It's just gonna type, it's just gonna keep going with this. We need to rename, and remember, this goes from the top to bottom, so when it finds this variable here, it's gonna put it in here. Okay, so this, I think we're done here. All right, we don't need to do anything else. We are escaping the SQL, and then we are encrypting that password that comes from there, and later putting it in here. So that's gonna work really good. So now I think we're good to go. So let's go to our create. So we make sure that we have the, all right, so we are good here in the database with 200 characters here. Let's just refresh this a little bit. All right, and let's just type in, I don't know, my username Edwin Diaz, and I'm just gonna type 1, 2, and 3. Create. Record created. Let's go and look in the database and see what happened. Actually, we need to go to the users. Look at this. I just typed 1, 2, and 3, and look at the type of password we got on the other side. Isn't that beautiful? Huh? This is beautiful, isn't it? So we did go over the characters here. All right. And as you can see here, we made this password a lot longer. We can use more characters if we go here and we use the SHA. I think it was all the way down, was it? Are we in the right place? Yes, we are. Give me 1 second. Right here. We could use the SHA if we wanted to. We can just, it just does some extra steps here, but I'm not gonna use that in this one here. I think we are good with this one. This is actually the best one since it's really slow. So it's gonna take that software have to wait until we start. It processes this password here. So you see that 10 times that we run it to. That's why it's low, because it has to go and run it 10 times to change that 1, 2, and 3. And that software, if we do this one time, that would be very quickly for the hacker software to check on this field, but we make it 10 times harder for them. Basically, we make it impossible with this format here. All right. So anyway, I hope you learned how to encrypt passwords. If you did not, for some reason, get this, make sure you rewind the video and watch it a couple times. I'm pretty sure you will get it. All right. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this will make your application, and I know it will make your applications a lot more secure. Again, I'll see you in the next lecture. Take care.